Tuesday savory dishes. A little secret, next week I'm doing something sweet and savory. But today I'm Chef Stephanie, I'm in the kitchen, and I'm making something, you know, a couple weeks ago I did a vegan margarita soup, which is a, which is a Greek Easter soup. And in terms of, there are lots of holidays that are going on at this time of year. You know, this coming week is Easter in some parts of the world. But today I'm honoring another religion where I'm making something that's very popular. In the Jewish religion, there is Passover. And it is observed in the springtime. And there are many different, it's about 6 or 7 or 8 days, depending upon how you observe it. And in this, as like many other religions, there are specific types of foods that are eaten either before, during, or after the holiday. And one of the specific things about this particular holiday of Passover is that Jewish people were escaping slavery, they were escaping from Egypt, and they didn't have time to make a lot of food and then run away. So at this time of year, people don't eat any leavened or any yeasted breads. So we're going to be making something called Matzo Brei, and one of the main components is matzah. Now, in some parts of the world where there's a large Jewish population, you can find matzah. They come in boxes. They're like these big crackers, and they can be salted, they can be plain, they can be whole wheat, so they come in all different kind of versions. But we don't have them readily available here in Greece, but I wanted to show you how easy they are to make. So I actually have some here, some ones that are already done, but I'm going to show you how to make them. Now, these are very artisanal. Like when you buy them commercially, they're going to be like in these nice sheets and perfect. But they are very light. You can see they haven't risen, so they're very, very fine. And they have signature holes in them. Can you see the holes? Yes. You make the holes with this fancy kitchen utensil called a fork. But we'll get to that later. So let's get straight away making our matzah. So remember, as I start making this, in most cultures around the world, they make dishes that use some type of bread and eggs. And I'm going to show you a little bit later our vegan egg, but right now we're going to be making the matzah part. So for example, when you're in places like, so here I do have my flour, I'm just going to be adding my water and bringing it all together. In some parts of the world, people just eat eggs with traditional toast or bread. I know other parts of the world, they eat eggs with rice. I know in Mexico, there's a dish called chilaquiles, which is eggs with tortilla chips. So literally almost every culture around the world uses eggs and some version of bread or a carbohydrate. But this is a very popular one. So really the matzah is, again, replacing the bread or the starch component, and then we're recreating the egg. So this is going to be kind of like an omelette. And I want you to always remember, it's called Matzo Brei, not Matzo Brie. Sometimes people say it like it's a brie cheese. It's not. It's Matzo Brei. And so all you want to do is bring your all-purpose flour together with your water, and I love to do this by hand. Now, this is something that you only need the water and the flour, and nothing else. After you cook it, you can then drizzle on olive oil, or you can use any type of mild vegetable oil you like, and then salt. That's completely up to you. So I just need a teeny weeny bit more water here. All right. I'm going to bring this all together. Now, if you're going to try to make this, if you are making this and following the Jewish religion, in my research I found that you have to make this recipe in under 18 minutes. So I'm not doing this. I do want to move quickly because I don't want to have everybody on here all day. But you do want to do this. And I don't know. I couldn't find out why you need to do this in under 18 minutes. But this recipe makes 8 different matzahs. And so I'm going to show you how to make the dough. We're going to roll it out. And then this dish is sometimes, interestingly enough, sometimes it's served sweet and sometimes it's served savory. So it can literally go both ways. Believe it or not, I had one student in one of my classes, Michael, I know, hopefully you're watching or maybe you're catching the replay, and he said he actually eats it kind of sweet and savory, so that's kind of crazy. So he puts strawberry jam on it and then a little bit of salt, so it's kind of both. So all you want to do is, once you have your dough brought together, you do want to knead it just for about 1 or 2 minutes until it's nice and soft. And then if you are using a scale, that's great, but you can also eyeball it. We're going to be dividing this into 8 equal parts. So if you want to be perfect, you can weigh it. I believe they have it here. It's about 28 grams per ball, but I'm going to eyeball it. For those of you who don't want to have to use a scale, that's fine. So you want to get your rolling pin. Have just some all-purpose flour here for dusting my bench. Okay, so I'll be dividing this in half, again in half, and then each one of these in half again. So you just want to make each one to a little ball. This is half, half, and half. For those of you who are into fractions, we just divided everything into 8. Boom. Okay. I'll put these back here now. Just roll these quickly. You do want to work quickly. In the meantime, you do cook these very quickly in a hot oven. One of the tricks is that you actually preheat the oven and you put, this is interesting, you put the baking sheet in the oven. So the baking sheet itself is also very hot. And that's going to help them cook. They only cook on 2 minutes per side. Super quick. All right. So now I have each one into a little ball. Flour your bench, and then now look, I'm not the best at this, I admit. These are supposed to be square, but you can make them round. Mine kind of come out artisanally, but I kind of like to name each one kind of looks like a continent. So you don't have to make them perfect. I will tell you, as we're going to be using these, we're actually going to be breaking these up into fine little pieces. So you don't have to worry about the exact shape of it. If you were going to be serving these and making these into using these as a cracker, or you're going to put these on some plate, if you're making a cheese plate or something, of course vegan cheese, you'd maybe want to take a little more time in terms of rolling them, but I am working here in terms of speed to get them going. You do want to make these paper thin, so really get these going and make them very nice and thin. Your dough will contract a little bit. You want to keep rolling around, rolling from the center outside. Make sure your pin is nice and, floured. And then you can move it around. You can even flip it over. I'm okay with that size. So these are just literally, they're about 1 to 2 millimeters, maybe 2 millimeters thick. This is about 1/16 of an inch. For those of you who still use the imperial system, as they call it. And then, once again, remember I was talking to you, you have to take your fork. And then now all you want to do is pierce these about 20 to 30 times on each side, literally both. And you want to go all the way through. Don't be too gentle. You want to make sure that you puncture the entire dough completely through, and then also flip it over. Do not, like I said, do not be gentle. You want to make sure you get these perforations. What it's going to do is that's going to help the dough cook, the matzah cook, and it's not going to puff up into some type of looking pita. And I'm going to do one more ball for you, just to show you once again. Just a little flour on my bench. So you can make these the day ahead of time. These are nice because these crackers will keep. You make them 2-3 days ahead of time. Depending upon how humid your ambient temperature is, you might want to put them in an airtight container if you're in a really humid environment, because they will go soft. But if you're in a deserty type of area, and you're very dry, like Madrid or Las Vegas or Phoenix or something, or certain parts of the world, maybe even Egypt or Israel, you can have them be out and not protected as much. You can still put them in maybe a bread box or something, but you don't have to be as concerned about them wilting, going limp. Okay. So once again, you want to make these. This is about, let me see, I'm going to measure these to show you. Here we are. Yes, I'm doing metric. So here I have this about 17 centimeters across. You can get out your math, divide that by 2.54 to get your inches if you are so inclined, for you imperial folks. Boom, 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 boom. Let's bring you about 5 inches around. Like I said, mine's not perfect. I kind of think this one looks like, well, that doesn't look like Africa. Maybe this looks like Australia. No, okay. All right, so now I'm not gonna continue on doing any more of these, but I will bring you over and show you how, let's see if I got the oven hot enough, and I'll show you what we're gonna do, because literally just 2 minutes per side. So let's come on over here. Let's see what my oven is. Oh, it's almost there. So you have to heat this up to 245 Celsius, which is like 425 Fahrenheit. So you have to get it up super hot. Now, I do want to also point out to you, make sure whatever you do, you don't put your tray too tall. I actually trialed this and tried to do 2 trays at the same time. Hey B, how are you? Oh yes, matzah is very easy to make, you're absolutely correct. But don't try to do 2 trays at once, because the ones that are too close to up to your grilling, or like where you would broil, those will burn. So be very careful. Don't put them in there, okay? So, like I mentioned, so I'm very close, I'm at 232. So I'm actually gonna push it and put it in there. So I will show you. Here's my tray. It's already heated up. You do not need to put anything, you don't need to grease it, you don't need to spray it or anything like that. And all you want to do is just pop these bad boys on there. 1, 2, close it up. Have a nice timer, set it, boom. Now I'm going to talk to you for 2 minutes. Okay, so remember, stay on these, wash them like a hawk. You're going to be flipping them on the other side, so 2 minutes per side. Go back. Actually, I have the timer on. So now, I need to show you how we're going to make our vegan eggs. How do we make vegan eggs? Because we're not using eggs that came from a chicken. No, no, no. We're using something called GLORIA. And GLORIA, for those of you who know, you may know, GLORIA comes in this little packet. GLORIA is completely, of course, vegan, but it's also allergy-free. So eggs are an allergen in addition to not being vegan. But this is made from potatoes. This has some, but there is plant fiber in here. It is very high protein, very low in carbohydrates, very easy to make. So there are 3 ingredients in making this. I have this already portioned out. I'll bring it down here and show you how we do this very easily. I have my trusty, dusty, fantastic blender here. Ba-dum-bum. Always remember, in your blender, you want to put your liquids in first, because if you put your dry in first, it's gonna coagulate and get all junked up and be harder to blend. So I have here 250 mils of water. I have 30 grams of the GLORIA, which this is how it looks in a powder. I do also have just a little bit of vegetable oil in there, and that helps give a really nice, light, fluffy, and helps emulsify. Fancy term there for bringing it all together. Now I'm gonna make a little bit of noise and fluff it up. That's it. Very easy. Boom. Now I know what's going to happen. I know it's about 2 minutes. Now the GLORIA, one thing about the GLORIA product, I do want to caution you chefs. Look, we're at 7 seconds. See how great I timed that? Boom, almost. So we're going to be flipping this over. There's my timer. Yay. All right. Let me show you here how these have puffed up nicely. Perfect. Pull that out there. And then just with your fingers, flip those over. And you can hear already, they're already getting a little bit crunchy, okay? So, 2 more minutes on the other side. Now, I want to show you that with the GLORIA product, you do need to do this ahead of time. When I say that, you can't mix it and then cook it straight away. You do need to do it about an hour ahead of time. So, in the lovely area of television, YouTube television, I've done some ahead of time. So this is the exact same thing. I just did it, so I wouldn't have to keep you on here for an hour. That's right. So once again, and you can see, look, this is a little bit thicker. As it hydrates, which means, you know, getting all that liquid goodness in there, it does get a little bit thicker. Now, while we're waiting for our matzah to finish, I do want to caution you about one thing about GLORIA. She is a little bit different from traditional eggs in one respect. You can't cook the crap out of her. What does that mean? You don't want to actually cook GLORIA and cook it on a high heat. The last thing you ever want to do is wok it, okay? You know, put it in a wok. You don't want to put it on super duper duper high heat. It has to be cooked at low to medium heat. So please make sure you don't overcook it. It's because of the components and the ingredients inside. It's just not going to be, it's going to take too long is what's going to happen. It's going to be too liquidy and it eventually will set up, but you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to overcook it. So do me a favor, just listen to Chef Steph and make sure you cook GLORIA on low to medium. All right. Now, we are now at 30 seconds. Let's take a sneak peek in here. They're looking pretty good, but I'm going to let them go the other 30 seconds. It's very quick and easy to make the matzah. Like I mentioned, you can make these ahead of time. It's very easy. So you can get 4 matzahs on one tray. I just wanted to do 2 quickly for you. But you can get 4 on one tray. So really, it's only going to take you about 8 minutes to cook all of these. So here we are, 5, 4. It's like countdown to midnight on New Year's Eve. 1, bang. Okay. Matzah off. Now, your choice. Sometimes, look, try this at home. I'm just going to grab these straight away. Ooh, they are a little bit hot. Ooh. And boom. They are a little bit warm. Now, you can just put them straight onto a tray. And if you like to salt them, I recommend you can use olive oil or you can use a mild vegetable oil. Just drizzle it on there and then put some salt. But if you're looking to stay kind of low salt and or low oil, just leave them completely like they are now. Now listen to these. Nice and crunchy, crispy. Okay. But because those are still a little hot, I'm going to show you, we are going to be using the ones that I have already made earlier, and these have cooled down, so I'm not going to be burning my cute little fingers. All right, so now I'm going to be pre-cooking these. When I say pre-cooking these, you do want to shred these up, crumble them up. Think of them now as like day-old breadcrumbs, okay? So I'm going to make 2 quick versions of the Matzo Brei, 1 sweet and 1 savory. So you want to take your matzah and just crumble it. So each one takes about 2 of these matzahs. Now, if you don't want to make your own matzah, that's fine, but it's, as I just showed you, it is pretty easy, and you just have to have flour and water. And you don't even have to use the salt. Because look, we're putting salt and we're putting oil into this because what I'm going to be doing is frying up here the matzah in a good amount of some wonderful vegan butter, vegan margarine. So I have that right here. And you just do want to fry these up. Now these you can be at a nice high heat, that's fine. So I just have my vegan butter here, so I'm just going to be heating this up in this pan. And make sure you want to chop up your matzah into bite-sized pieces. You don't have to be perfect. Look, you don't need to use a knife. This is a really peasant dish. This is not fine dining. I know this is what kids absolutely love this dish. So it's meant to be eaten, you know, you can make it literally any morning throughout the year. It's not something that you need to take a lot of time doing. The matzah you can have all the time. GLORIA can be prepared ahead of time. You can keep GLORIA prepared like this in the refrigerator for up to a week. Oh, thanks, Jess, for watching. I saw you logging on there. So yeah, so for up to a week ahead of time, you can make the GLORIA. So now you just want to get your butter heating here. My pan seems to be having a fun time here. Yeah, I'm going to use this one. There we go. All right. I do recommend using a nonstick pan. It is much easier for you, but it's your call. You don't have to. The vegan butters out there right now are so fantastic. They have a lot of flavor to them, and this is creating like a really delicious. If you talk about the flavor chair, there's something that we talk, if you ever want to join us in level 1, which is what we call our vegan cuisine course, we talk about the flavor chair. And the flavor chair is how every single one of us who's a human being who eats, we all have different things that we like to eat, okay? But there are some similarities and ways that we all seem to like the same things over and over. Look, you know, some people have different likes and dislikes, but at the end of the day, we are wired, we're hardwired, now pop these matzah in, we're hardwired to like things that are sweet and salty and acidy and fatty. So here, we're getting the salty, there is a little bit of salt in my vegan butter. Now I am gonna come back and add just a little bit of salt because I didn't salt the matzah very much. So I am gonna salt this a little bit right here. You can add as much or as little as you like I mentioned, playing upon with your diet. You do want this, so this is really the fatty, fantastic part of our dish. Remember, in a traditional egg, you are getting more fat in the egg, but in GLORIA, we only added a teeny weeny bit of vegetable oil. So there's really next to no fat in our vegan egg, AKA GLORIA. So we're getting all that good fatness from our nice pan-fried matzah. So you want to cook this on a nice, pretty high heat. This is medium to high. You want to keep this crispy. You can do these in batches. The kids are, I'm sure the kids would love doing this. And then now I'm going to show you how to make this. Remember, GLORIA has to be cooked at a much cooler temperature. So I'm going to pull this pan off. And then I'm just going to crumble up 2 other matzahs here. So I'm going to show you how to make, like I mentioned, we're going to do 1 sweet and 1 savory. Although, like I said, my buddy Michael seems to like the combination of the 2. So literally, there you go. The sky's the limit. Interestingly enough, in my research, I found that this supposedly is the most famous breakfast, or excuse me, the favorite breakfast of the famous movie director Steven Spielberg. Yeah, this reminds me of his childhood. So the next time you're watching E.T. or Jurassic Park, you can think of Matzo Brei and honor Steven. There you go. So you can literally, even though this is a very typical for a Passover, remember again, because matzah is not leavened, it's so delicious and so easy and hearty and satisfying. This is literally eaten all year round. All right, so now I have my pan literally just on 1. I'm maybe gonna bring it up here to 2. Just a 2, 3, yeah, there we go, 3. And now I'm just gonna pop in my GLORIA. And you can mix, now, remember this is kind of like a vegan pancake / omelet. You can do this with as little or as much egg as possible. Think about it like cake, in the sense that some people like cake with a lot of icing, other people like cake with just a teeny weeny bit of icing. It's your call as to how you do it. So the other thing about GLORIA, as I mentioned, that you don't want to cook her at too high of a temperature. You also, oh, guess what? Outside is Manolis, my tennis coach. He's pointing to his nose. He just walked right by. Manolis is like, he can smell, evidently he can smell what's going on. Yeah, that's funny. He's going to give me a hard time later on. He's going to say, Mela, run more, do more drills. Yes, isn't that funny? I live right, my tennis coach lives right next door to our studio here in Greece. Small world. So see, with GLORIA, you don't want to scramble her up. She's more gentle, she's more subtle. So I do like big chunks of my Matzo Brei. I don't like little bitty bits. But once again, to each his own. I do like the different colors. There's some that are really crunchy, other ones that are more white. So think of it like toast. Some people like not burned, but some people like really well done toast, or even your pizza crust. Other people like pizza crust that's more al dente or not as well done. So you can lightly scramble this up. There goes Manolis. All right, he's headed out to the courts. All right, so I'm just gonna gently fold this over. So again, think of this like as pancake or as an omelet. You can add, now because I'm keeping this one savory, because I am this spicy chica, and this is supposed to be my savory channel. Well, it is my savory channel. I'm going to put a little bit of pepper on there. Yum-o. You could, of course, if you're looking, you could use some white pepper. I know my buddy Jess is the queen of white pepper. She's very French in that respect. I like it too. So I'm just going to keep mixing this up a little bit. It's very freestyle. This is not about, once again, this is not a fancy dish. Peasant food, okay? And here we go. That's done. So this is going to be Matzo Brei number 1. I like to have a lot more carbs in mine. Also, as I mentioned, because I'm making this savory, look, you can put some fresh herbs on here. If you really want to make this a little bit fancier, you could put some chives or something. I just happen to have a little bit of parsley here. And there you go. That is savory Matzo Brei. GLORIA, homemade matzah. Now I would put a little bit of hot sauce on here, but because I want to keep it old school, I won't this time. Crispy, delicious. But now, I'm showing you a sweet version. So same thing. I heat up my pan. Heat up your butter. And you can do this at the same time. You could have a matzah buffet, imagine that. Matzah buffet. You can have your own fixings. Everyone can have everything they want on it. I mean, what's so popular now? Like, my gosh, those kids love, what is it? Oh my gosh, it's like the most popular, I think, flavor of frosting is, what do they call it, birthday cake? You can make birthday cake matzah brei. Imagine that. Yeah, so now I'm going to be frying up my other batch of matzah. And I'll tell you, this will be actually, what I'm going to show you also a little trick, a little pro tip. Because I know I'm making this one sweet, inside, if you've ever made cinnamon toast, as a child, one of my favorite things was cinnamon toast. So think of the matzah as like our toast, right? So now here I have my butter, and now I'm just going to add just a little zhuzh. That's fancy, of course, term for it, just a little bit. Just a little bit of cinnamon. And then now I'm going to put in a little bit of sugar, and I have some demerara or brown sugar here. So I'm going to be making my matzah itself sweet. Typically, when they make it sweet, the sweetness is added on top. But I like to, we talk a lot about layering flavors. And I'll tell you over and over and over and over, I know I've become a broken record. But Jessica and I really love to do that because as you're making food and as you're adding flavors throughout the different layers, that's really what amps up and what takes your food from like okay to next level incredible. So now I'm going to pull this, some of these bits of goodness got really caramelized. I got my sweet sugar in there. I guess that's redundant, isn't it? So, all right, remember I want to drop my pan. I don't want to have GLORIA too hot. So I'm going back down from, I had this up to like medium high. Now I want to go back all the way down and have it be on really low. So I pulled it off. And remember, GLORIA has to be cooked on a really, really low temperature. So I'm actually going to pour it in here. See, it's a little bit too hot already. The pan was still a little bit hot. I should put it on an ice bath. Just kidding. So now, do a little bit more here. It's fun to make GLORIA. So you can literally use anything. If you were using your funfetti or your what did I say, birthday cake flavorings. You could put that in either on top. I've seen people putting it as a syrup. And once again, think of it as a pancake. You know, the way you put maple syrup on top of pancakes. That's also very similar as to how this is presented. So you can make this, you can serve this in a bowl, you can serve it on a plate. So I'm just mixing this around. Some people, when they're making the traditional matzo brei, it's served in a flat pan and then they'll cut it into slices, more of a frittata style. But because GLORIA is so delicate, it has to be cooked at a lower temperature. I don't typically do that. I am going to put a little bit more of my sugar on here and the overall thing. And if you were on your, let's see, if you were baking this on a buffet, for example, and you wanted to denote that it were sweet instead of savory, maybe, so a little trick, you can use a different color plate, or you can then garnish it with some, another way also is that you could use some jam or marmalade or something else. Or again, your funfetti. Now let me see. Jessica has all kinds of, what does she have down here? Oh, I know. She was just making, tomorrow you have to watch Jessica because she has all kinds of fun things she's creating in her bag of tricks tomorrow. And she is making all kinds of fun Easter things. But I'm going to show you, if you wanted to, you could just have this be a little bit more colorful. And I'll show you here. I'm going to use just a little bit of, we use a little bit, this is a little candy. These are sugar candies. Typically, these will be more served, of course, for something like a dessert. But because this is so sweet, remember, cinnamon and sugar, matzo brei. So I put it inside. Maybe I'll put a little bit more here on top, just to make these even more decadent. It's like making candy, but this will be your breakfast. Okay, so here we have the sweet matzo brei made with GLORIA, homemade matzah, vegan butter, and then the beautiful little nonpareils, little sugar balls with cinnamon in there. Mm. Mm. You can mix and match. Have either one. Sweet or savory. Matzo brei. You can't get any easier than that. Kids of all ages will love it. And tradition, it's really nice to honor also and learn about different cultures and religions throughout the world. So the next time you're thinking about Passover or Steven Spielberg, think about making matzo brei, and you know now how to make it vegan and how to make homemade matzah. So please, if you like this video and other ones, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. If you really liked it, send this video to friends. And remember to stay tuned and watch tomorrow as Jessica is going to be making some fantastic Easter peanut butter surprises. So see you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Oh, and tomorrow, I promise you, Jessica's going to be here. It's not April Fool's. She's really going to be here. Happy end of March. Bye-bye.